Should fat troops be sacked from the armed forces? 0207 862 2222. President Trump and his Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, yesterday gathered almost 800 generals from around the world for an unprecedented meeting that, by the sounds of it, had them all perplexed.
I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is very... Oh, don't laugh, you're not allowed to do that.
And he said, if you laugh, you can leave, but if you leave, we'll strip you of your rank. What they weren't expecting was the announcement of a self-styled woke crackdown.
No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. And that's why today, at my direction, the era of unprofessional appearance is over. No more beardos. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that.
No more beardos, as in bearded weirdos. Hegseth also announced that all combat roles in the US military would need, he said, the highest male-level physical standards, and he spoke out against overweight personnel.
It's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon.
And I think he was staring at a few of them. Regarding our armed forces, 941 troops medically discharged between January 2023 and March 24 were reportedly at severe risk of ill health due to their weight. So about 1,000 people discharged because they were large. The MOD said at the time that no personnel had been discharged just due to obesity. And they say obesity in the armed forces is extremely low. Those with weight issues get medical and dietary advice. OK, Phil, what do you make of this? Amazing, because he brought them over from all parts of the world, these generals, and they didn't know what it was for.
Crazy. I mean, what year are we living in? Is it 1917 when my grandfather fought in the trenches? Is it 1944 when my father had to land on the D-Day beaches? No, it's 2025 when it's about war is about drones. Have we not woken up to that? You can be as fat as you want sitting behind a computer. You can be as fat as a sumo wrestler. And I'll say another two people you won't have heard of, perhaps. You may have done. Giant haystacks and Big Daddy.
The old-style wrestlers.
They would put the fear of God into the Russians, wouldn't they?
Well, before Lin was born, there were these massive wrestlers who used to appear on TV every week. Giant haystacks, Big Daddy, and
they were fit.
Kendo Nagasaki.
They were big and fat.
Let's listen to their names. It sounds like a bit of a joke. Do we want to have jokes in our military? When you think of military, you think of army drills. You think of, a clean bill of health. You think of long runs.
So 20th century.
No, it doesn't matter. The thing is,
because if you're operating a drone, you can be obese.
Yeah, but it's about perception. OK, let's even look at the police force. I think it's absolutely embarrassing to see an absconder or someone, potentially a criminal, running away, and you've got this huffing and puffing, fat, unhealthy police officer that can't even run after. I'm saying in general, it stretches across the board. We have an obesity crisis in this country.
We do.
And it goes into every fraction of society. Our military is what leads and protects our countries, irrespective of if we don't...
How do they do that now?
We need
in 2025.
And he was
what about when they're
perfect for
marching, Phil? I mean, even drone operators must have to march.
When we look at China,
They can have them marching.
when we look at China, they are...
Go on, Lin, quickly.
When we look at China, they are organised. They look sharp. You do not see an overweight Chinese officer.
When did China last win a war?
OK, but we're seeing an increase of their military.
Yeah, we are.
They look the part. We should look the part.
OK, John is in Leeds. John, what do you think about this? Is Hegseth right?
No, look, I've done 22 years with the Royal Engineers, and we used to have to do a mile run within so many minutes, 10-mile bashes, and they've stopped that. And by the way, giant haystacks and that wrestling, what he's talking about, was all fixed. So it didn't matter how big they were.
I only realised that afterwards that it was all fixed. At the time, I thought it was true. But giant haystacks was large. There was no fixing that. But you sound like you're saying that soldiers should be fit.
Yeah, they should be.
Yes.
They should be fit. Do you think Iraq, when Iraq and Afghanistan was on that, they're all fat? Well, I almost said it.
No, don't.
They're all fat guys.
Yeah, but Phil's point is, you're going back 25, 30 years. Nowadays, all you've got to do is sit at a desk and move a little lever, Phil says.
No, you don't. Do you think what do you think they're doing in Ukraine?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Do you think they're just sitting behind?
No, they're
not-
using
They're
drones.
good.
No, Phil, but the drone operators.
about drones.
They're on the
The
ground.
drone
though.
operators are on the front line. That's
Yes.
Yeah.
In
Thank
all
you, John.
different types of terrains and conditions. You
Yeah.
need to be fit and healthy to be in various conditions all over the world.
What about
you can't be overweight.
Thomas in London? What now? I want to mention to you. He also says no beardos. Thomas, what do you think?
Well, just hello. Can you hear me, Jeremy?
I hear you.
Right, no beardos. I'll be really quick about that. That was the worst thing the British Army did. It's to get people into the British Army because obviously it's all wokey. They could have beards, but do you know why? The reason why British soldiers had to shave.
Gas masks.
The main reason. It goes from the First World War.
Yeah.
Your gas mask, your respirator, wouldn't seal properly. If you didn't shave your face every day and mustard gas come over, you were dead.
Yeah.
In 1980, in the 80s, with NBC warfare, your respirator was the same principle. 9 seconds would take you to die if you didn't have a sealed respirator.
What about the overweight thing, Thomas?
The overweight thing is, it used to be the same. You had to be fit to fight. It's the bottom line is, if you're not fit, you can't fight. You've got a soldier. No matter what your panelist says, they still need soldiers to get to A to B to attack the enemy. You could say about drones and everything else, things have changed slightly, but
Right.
if you look at Ukraine, it's like trench warfare.
We have to move on.
You've got to be very fit.
Thank you, Thomas. Thanks so much. Sorry, just got to move on for our break. And then we'll see what exciting quiz question we have next.